Welcome back to our reading of Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Suzuki Roshi here at Zen Buddhism Ireland. I'm Myozan, Kodo. I've just made some tea, so excuse me for a moment. So, the tea, the cup, the water, the tea leaves, the kettle, the knowledge how to make the tea, the electricity that boiled the kettle, the shop where I bought the tea, the person who stacked the shelf where the tea was when I bought it, back to the person who grew the tea, picked the tea, transported the tea, the rain that fell on the tea leaves in Japan, the sun that shone on the fields where the tea grew. This week we're looking at God-giving, page 65. Every existence in nature, every existence in the human world, every cultural work that we create is something which was given, or is being given to us, relatively speaking. But as everything is originally one, we are in actuality giving out everything, moment after moment. We are creating something, and this is the joy of our life. But this I, which is creating and always giving out something, is not the small I, it is the big I. Even though you do not realize the oneness of this big I with everything, when you give something, you feel good, because at that time you feel at one with what you are giving. This is why it feels better to give than to take. Suzuki Roshi on giving. He identifies three types of giving, and three types of creating, I should say. The creation of when you come out of Zazen, you come back to your individual being, and all phenomenon appear again. You and everything comes back into being, is created at once and new. When I made the tea, this is the second type of creating, when we create things, when we make tea or grow flowers. And the third type that he identifies is when we make something in ourselves, we create education or learning. In this chapter, he emphasizes the paramitas, and especially the paramita of dana, which is to give the teachings, to teach the Dharma, to give a donation, to give something to another being. This giving, what is given is not particularly important. It is the spirit of giving that is important. And realizing that the giver, the receiver, and the gift are all one, as we say in our oryoki chant when we're having our oryoki meal on sesshin. Dogen Zenji said, "To give is non-attachment. That is, just not to attach to anything is to give." So, to not be attached to the things of this world is to give wholeheartedly. And this is not to understand that things have no value. This is to understand the ultimate value of every single thing. every single euro, speck of dust, flower, bucket of earth, to understand the ultimate value of everything is to be non-attached to it, is to realize that it cannot be grasped or held or possessed. This is what Suzuki Roshi describes as big mind, the big I, rather than the small I, which we're often engaged in, of this is mine, I am giving this. But when there is no giver, no receiver, and no gift, then this is the ultimate truth of how things are. This is non-attachment, and this is a true understanding of the ultimate value of all things. Suzuki Roshi in this chapter says, we usually forget about, he uses the Christian analogy of God, that all things come from this oneness, that we usually forget that, and we engage in the second and third type of giving, the things of the world and possessions. And usually everyone forgets about Zazen, everyone forgets about God. They work very hard at the second and third kinds of creation, but God does not help the activity. So Suzuki Roshi, using this Christian analogy of God, I presume, hoping his Western audience will understand what he's talking about. In this understanding, everything comes from this realm of emptiness. Everything is interpenetrating and co-arising. Everything is empty, and everything depends on everything else, as we know from chanting the Heart Sutra every day. So when we sit in the cross-legged posture, we resume our fundamental activity of creation. So this is, our Zazen is the foundation for our Dana, for the foundation of our giving and of our practice of the paramitas and our practice of the precepts. Everything comes out of this fundamental first creation, which Suzuki Roshi describes here as God-given or God-giving. This is Zazen. This is the ground of being from which everything emanates, and not only does it emanate, but it is not separated from it. It is of this reality of emptiness, this truth of emptiness. So this non-attachment is a great teaching for how to live our lives, how to deal with the past and the future as well as the present. Not to be attached to the joys of the present, or indeed the sufferings of the past, and to remember them, but to realize that they are gone, to view them with the mind of non-attachment, and to truly live in this moment, to live the life, the only true life that we have, which is right here and now. And we should forget day by day what we have done. This is true non-attachment. And we should do something new. To do something new, of course, we must know our past, and this is all right. But we should not keep holding on to anything we have done. I think this is very important. When we give Dana, when we give something, when we give of ourselves, there should be nothing left behind. It should be totally given. So we all know people, I'm sure, who give in order to gain some advantage, or who help people out and then never stop saying, "Oh, I was never thanked for helping that person out. They're so ungrateful." Even for years, this can go on, this kind of narrative. This is the wrong type of giving. This is really not skillful giving. this is really not giving at all. To give is to give completely and to expect nothing in return. To want nothing in return. This is true dana. This is true non-attachment. So not to hold on to it, to give it completely. We should only reflect on it, and we must have some idea of what we should do in the future, but the future is in the future. The past is the past. Now we should work on something new. This is your life. This is your life. This is it. Now. This is it. Not what was, not what is to come or may not come. This is it. This is our attitude and how we should live in this world. This is dana prajna paramita, to give something new or to create something for ourselves. So to do something through and through is to resume our true activity of creation. This is why we sit. If we do not forget this point, everything will be carried on beautifully. But once we forget this point, the world will be filled with confusion. So, not to neglect that first kind of creation in our lives. This creation where we are supported, where our life is supported by all things, and where we support all things, and there is no separation between us and all things. Where the fish swims in the ocean and is not separate from the ocean. This is the God-giving that Suzuki Roshi teaches us in this chapter. This is the true reality, the ultimate reality of the way things are. And in this great spirit of generosity, nothing truly is given by no self and received by nobody. So, my tea is gone. Everything is passing, and we're making our way through Suzuki Roshi's book bit by bit. It's probably taken a few years already, but within the next couple of years I'll finish it with you. Next time we move on to mistakes in practice, page 71. So thank you for sitting with me, and if you want to contact me, you can find out more about me, Myozan Kodo, and our Sangha here in Dublin, Ireland, on zenbuddhism.ie. Enjoy your life.